this computer. All right. So, oh, there's more people coming. Yay, that's exciting. Okay. So today what we'd like to show you, Brian and I, is a program called TeacherMade. And the idea behind this is to take a PDF file. It could be a worksheet that you had. It could be maybe like a quiz or something. And you can give your students this PDF file through this website called TeacherMade. It is totally free. They even said that it's always going to be free. Now that doesn't mean that all the features will be free eventually, but right now they just created the site about maybe 2 months ago. They had some users trying it out in August. So definitely hop on it. It is totally free site. And so today what I'll do is I'll show you how you can take a PDF file and put it on the site, and what does that really look like, and what it would look like for your students as well. Just a couple of things about this site. When I log in or sign up, I use my RCSD 121 account. And then I do want to show you some things that this site has. So kind of like, well, what does it really do? They have this awesome list right here that kind of compares the TeacherMade site to something like Google Slides, but it also shows you basically what are the things that you can do with PDFs, and then what are the things that they will continue to work on to provide for us. So the big one is you can take a PDF and you upload it to the site, right? And then what you can do with it is add these interactive activities. Now you don't have to, and I'll show you. Basically, you could technically upload the Google or the PDF and then just assign it to students. And the students will be able to freehand draw on it on the PDF and type. But these digital tools that you could add, which I will show you today as well, are really, really neat tools because they will grade the questions, because you could put the answers in there, and it will give students the immediate feedback. So when they submit the work, they'll know if they got something right or wrong. And I think that's pretty powerful. And you can see some of the features that they already have. If you're a math teacher specifically, there's some really nice math features. But I'm going to show you today examples from social studies and math. And then you can see some other features that they're working on. So you could see, like in October, the features that they're coming out with are the citing evidence, underlining responses, inserting different medias. I cannot wait for this one in November, drag and drop activity. That I think would be really cool. I use a lot of those. And so then like this chart is just really nice to show you kind of the things that it does. So let's just get into it so you can kind of see what it looks like. And then Brian, if you could man the chat, and then just, if I go too fast or if you have a clarifying question, you guys could ask. There's not that many of us. So what I've done is I've just signed into my account that I created earlier. And again, I just use the RCSD 121 account. And these are all the different worksheets that I already created, just been playing around with it. But I'm going to show you today how to do it. Now, if you ever get stuck in something, you could click on Get Started. This will open up a
Hey guys, it's Emily with
YouTube channel that is their TeacherMade channel, and it has mini videos, kind of like what we do in our online courses, to go through the steps of how to do this. There's also a support feature, which is really nice. I had a couple questions yesterday when I was playing around with it, and you could go in the support and you can basically create, it's like a discussion forum, and you create questions, and they're really good at getting back to you. It's also a great way that you could actually not only ask for support, but feedback and suggestions. So, if you start playing around with it and you're like, oh man, I wish I could do this with it, give them a suggestion. They're definitely looking for all the different ideas and features. So I want to get started. And so here's my worksheet, but I'm going to create a worksheet. And create a worksheet just means I'm going to upload a PDF. So I'm going to click create worksheet. First thing I want to do is title it. So I'm going to title, Wednesday PD morning session. And then I'm going to see right here, it says drop a file here or click to choose one from your computer. So I'm going to click, it's going to open up to my computer, and I'm looking for, if I just, there we go. Nope. Which one am I looking for? That would be good to know, right? Oh, here we go. TeacherMade example. Okay. So I'm gonna upload my worksheet. Now my worksheet has, I don't remember, 5 or 6 pages. It's a PDF. You could have, and I can't remember for sure, but it's up to 12 or 16 pages. Okay. Now, right now, I uploaded these and it says pick at least one page. So right now, you can select which pages you want to actually create into a worksheet. And that's nice because sometimes when you upload PDFs, you might have answer keys inside of them. So obviously you wouldn't want that for your students, so you wouldn't choose that. So you can see right here, you can deselect and say, maybe I don't want this page, right? And I just want the 4 pages. Maybe that's the answer key. I want my 5 pages. So I'm going to select all of them and I'm going to create a worksheet. And now this is my worksheet. And so right now it's just a PDF. I have some social studies and some math examples in one PDF that I created. So I have some multiple choice, some matching activities, so you can kind of see the different pieces to put in. Some math ones with fractions I wanted to show you, another math example. But again, any subject area can use this. This is all just, this is a Regents question. These are all just PDFs, right, that I put together. So in reality, you could just take this and just assign it to students. One of the nice feature that this has is a view preview option. And what that means is when you click on preview, anytime that you're working with this PDF, you will see what students see. So that's really, really helpful, because then you could help them, as well as even use something like Screencastify video to do an overview video of how to fill out your document. So if I were to just assign this PDF, I could click preview to see what it looks like. And if you look at it, without doing anything to this PDF, students will be able to use text boxes to type their name, right? And they could move the text box if they want to. Maybe, there we go, move the text box if they want to. They'll be able to highlight. So I'm going to change and maybe make it yellow. I can highlight on this document. It's not perfect. You got to figure out where the cursor needs to be. It has to be underneath the text. The students will be able to draw. They could circle, again, changing the colors. They can select their, the answer. Maybe it's not this one. I think it's this one. If they go to something like matching, right, they can make lines. Actually, there's a line one, which is even better. So the kids will be able to just draw, type their answers. Right now, there's 2 shapes that they can use, such as squares and circles. Okay, so that's pretty much what they could do. And so you can, if you would like to, just assign this PDF the way it is, and the students will annotate using these tools. Now, again, I would recommend using something like Screencastify that we all have the paid version for, to do a recording and showing them how to use these tools the first time, so they know, okay, this is my text box, this is my highlighter, my line tool, my pen tool, things like that. But there's more to this website and more to this tool than just assigning the way it is. You could actually take these question sets and make them interactive in terms of you can put the correct answer in here, and then students will select the answer, and then when they check their work and submit their work to you, they'll see the feedback. And they could either see the right answer if you want them to, or at least they're going to see if they got the question right or wrong. So that immediate feedback, which is very, very powerful, especially during asynchronous learning. So this is very, very nice tool to use for asynchronous learning. So let me go through a little bit about these icons. This is, so again, if I want to jazz this up, right, I take my PDF, and instead of assigning it the way it is now, which again I can, and I'll show you how to assign in a little bit, but I want to actually put in the interactive answers so then the students can fill them out. So then I'm going to use these tools on the bottom. And let me go through some of these tools. The first tool is your insert short answer tool. In that tool, you'll be able to insert a text box where the students will put in an answer. This is really good if you have maybe fill in the blank, or some kind of answer where it's specific answer that you want students to write out. Because then what's going to happen is if they write it out correctly, then they would get the full point or 2 points, whatever you assign. You also have a drop down. So again, if you have, let's say, choices, maybe you have 5 words or 5 items that you want students to look at and pick one of them, you can create drop downs. You can create a P, which is an open answer text box, and that one is great for in math if you're doing, students have to explain their work, or if you have some kind of a paragraph that they need to write, a reflection sheet, something like that, you would use the P. You also have a matching, and I'll show you how to do that. There's also true and false, multiple choice, and you could have up to 8 choices. A checkbox, which gives you multiple choices that students can choose. A hotspot. Hotspot is great when you have questions like, let's say you have an image that you might want students to select multiple things in that image. So you can make hotspots all over the image, and they need to select specific pieces of that image. So it's great for like, I saw someone do it with cells, right? Like you have a cell and you have different parts of the cell that the students would have to identify. In math, let's say you have a quadratic function and you have a graph of it, and you can say where are the roots, and the kids would have to specifically point out to the roots. So hotspots are pretty cool, and I'm going to use a hotspot for multiple choice today to just show you. The math one is really neat for the math teachers. For younger grades specifically, the numbers, fractions, and mixed numbers is great because it's text boxes that will give students an option that they have to put in a fraction. They actually don't need the math equation editor to do that, or a mixed number, or even, again, just giving specific number pieces. The algebraic expression will give you the equation editor for students to be able to type in. And again, I'll show you that as well. And then you could also just add text. Sometimes, or a lot of times, when you have these PDFs are great when you print them out to students, and give it to them so they could freehand write. But when we're doing it digitally, some of the descriptions or directions might need to be modified. So the text feature is nice because I can put in my own directions that are specific to assigning this digitally and completing it digitally. In that same way, I can insert an image into here. So if I have an image that I want to add on top of the PDF that I already have. And this feature, which is a color block, it's an eraser that I can get rid of the directions. So for instance, let's say these directions right here, maybe I want them to read the paragraph, but I want them to highlight important information. I could put a color block, and what it does, it just erases it. It disappears. And then what you can do is actually make no border. So it literally disappears. There's nothing you see. And you can, again, do a preview. I always love doing this, the view preview. So you can see how the directions are gone. This is what the students would see. So then I could make my own directions. So instead, I can type right here and I could say, directions, right? And then I could say annotate the text, then complete the multiple choice, right? So I made my own directions. I can change the text color, the text font, size, style, etc. And again, I would just move this over. And my text box right now shows, so again, I love to do the view preview to see what the students would see. This is what they would look like. But again, what I could also do is click on this text box and maybe I don't want a border. So it looks just part of the activity. There's the directions. And again, you could change the color, everything. So now I'm going to go down here and I'm going to look at this multiple choice, and then I'm going to pause to see if anybody has questions because I'm kind of going a little fast here. I'm just so excited because this tool has like really cool things. So I'm just going to show you how to use the multiple choice. What you do is you're going to click on this circle right here, and because there's 4 choices, I'm going to click 4 choices. And then I'm going to, if you see there's circles that show up, you can put them next to it, or you could hover over it and put it over it if you want. I'm just going to put it next to it and maybe make it a little bit smaller for them. So basically what I'm showing is the 4 circles. And then with these 4 circles, it says edit multiple choice. I can choose how many points this question is. So what if I want it to be 2 points? Save changes. And then of course I need to pick the right answer. And I'm literally just going to put my cursor on the correct answer. And that's it. So that would be the multiple choice. If I click view preview again, this is what my students will see. They'll see these circles and they will have to choose whichever one they think is the answer. Is it A, B, C, or D? And then again, if they choose something like D, you'll see that when they check their work, it'll be wrong because I chose the answer to be A. And then for the other 2, I'm going to do the same thing. Now, another feature that's really nice with TeacherMade is I don't necessarily have to go back to the multiple choice. I can select the one I already did and then go to edit and duplicate. There's also a shortcut, Control D. My shortcut doesn't work very well. I don't know if it's because this does save automatically and I go too fast, but it doesn't always work. So I just go here and duplicate. And then again, I can just take it, move it, and here's my next choice. Maybe I want to make it a little bit smaller because it's, kind of looks, kind of fit it in here. And then I want to change my answer, and I could do that, and that's how I would do it. And then again, I select it and do the same thing. I'm going to duplicate, move it over here, and this one I think the answer is D also, and I'm going to leave it as this, right? So again, you could do that. You could put it over it if you want. You could do it this way. It's really up to you how you do it. If you are stuck and you're like, well, I don't know what to do with this multiple choice, you could always go to the help and then click on the multiple choice, and it will give you directions exactly what to do and how to complete it, as well as a lot of times they have videos. So you don't have to like leave this place. You could just always go to help and figure out which, I want to add a multiple choice. How do I do that? All right, so I'm going to pause there. Are there any questions so far with what I just did?
Did you show them how to delete? Because you can't just backspace.
Yeah, so you can backspace right here by undo, or when you have it highlighted, you can use the eraser tool. Oh, no, maybe not. When you, have it on the arrow, when you do here and go edit, you can delete. So I love the edit feature. That's my favorite one because I use it for duplicate and delete. They might eventually have it on the bar. Again, that's something that you could always ask them to do. By the way, the other features up top that I haven't gone over, formatting is the borders. If you want to set, so instead of constantly making borders or not, or clearing out borders, you can set the default. Do you want it, like right now, my default is that I have a border and it's a black color. Maybe I don't want one, so I can make that as a default. And same thing with scoring. You can do a default of 1 point for each question, or you can change it to do not score at all. Just give them the immediate feedback, you know, or 2 points, whatever. So you can definitely do that. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So let's keep going. So what I like to also do is when I add some questions and I want to, you know, again, see what this looks like, I can always go to view preview, just so I can see what the student would see. And this is what the student would see, right, when they put in their values. Here I see there's some discrepancies. Maybe I want to, again, update. Maybe I want to hover over a little bit more, just, you know, to make it so, you know, it's makes sense for the student. So maybe that's, you know, good. I like that. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to move on to the next section. So the next section, and this is a matching section. This is really cool that you can do here is you can use this matching tool. And basically with a matching tool, what you're going to do is you're going to make every choice its own pink box. And so this is where I love to do my edit and duplicate. And I'm going to just duplicate a bunch of them. And what I'm going to do is just move them over, make them bigger. And all I'm doing is covering up every one of the choices. Make sure that it doesn't go over the other boxes, so they're all separate boxes. And I'm going to do the same thing for the column B as well. Again, you know, for me, I'm just going to duplicate. You don't have to duplicate. You can just, again, click on this icon right here, which is matching, and just cover it like this. You can do that as well. Does not matter which way you do it. So I'm showing you kind of both ways. So that's the first step in matching, is what you have to do is cover all of them in these pink boxes. This isn't what students will see. This is just something that you need to do. Then what you're going to do is you're going to match. Now, again, if you're not sure how to do that, you'd go to your help and you'd read the directions. And in the matching, it says that you need to hold one of them and then click control key down while clicking to, I'm sorry. Now you hold down the shift key and click on its corresponding correct answer. So what this means is I'm going to click here for one, and I think the choice is C. I'm going to click shift and then I'm going to click on C. I'm going to click on number 2, click shift, and then click on B. And so what it's doing is it's making these options. So for 3, I think the answer was D. I'm looking at my answer key. So social studies teachers, don't laugh at me if I don't know the answer. Click 4, click shift, and then E. Right? So you'll get better at this. And again, you could read the directions of how to do it. And that's it. And my choices are done. Again, I could say, well, this is 5 points. So maybe I'll give it 5 points instead of 1. Now what's cool is to see what the students would see. So view preview. I'm going to scroll down. Here's my matching. Now for students, if you notice, when I hover over the choices, my cursor changes to like a crayon. What the students will do is they will click on the first choice and then hold down their mouse and move their crayon to whatever they think the answer is. And then they're going to let go with their mouse. So they're going to click on the mouse, move the mouse over, you know, to choose their answer. If they, let's say number 3, they go up to B, which I already chose 2 was the answer, the last one disappears. So they can only, they're only prompted to make a matching with 1 pair. So it's a neat, again, neat activity that you can do, and it will give them that immediate feedback. Did they get it right or wrong? And that's huge, especially in asynchronous learning. In this one right here, you can do a lot of different things. Right now, they don't have matching activities and or sorting activities, which I cannot wait for them to have. That's coming in November. So I think I could see this being a sorting activity where they're literally going to move these pieces to the causes. But in this case, if I want them to just type it, I can use this insert open answer item. And the reason why I'm going to use that one is because there's no answer key. And that's because what if students, forget how to not spell something correctly, or forget that something is lowercase instead of uppercase, or they put a period when they don't need to. So because of that, I like to use it as an open answer. The open answers are nice too because you could start with a starter text. So for students that need a little bit more guidance, you can give them a little bit of text to start with. And again, I'm just going to put these in and duplicate them 3 more times. That way I don't have to do it one at a time. And then I'm just going to move them in the appropriate boxes. And then again, you could view preview. I like to check my work to make sure that everything works. We've tried the matching here. The students would just move over their cursor. They don't actually need to create their own text box. So, excuse me, this is great for especially younger students, because this menu bar you can actually not give them if you don't want to. And so then the students won't need to go themselves and add the text box. They can just click on here and do the text box. And remember, right now that box doesn't have an outline. You could add it if you want, right? If I said, well, I do want this to be a different color, to let the students know that I'm sorry, the line color. I want my students to know that you do need to put something in here. So you can, you can leave it like this and have a line. And so again, if I preview it, you can see now there's a text box inside of it. So the students will know to type in here. Let's get to some of the math, because I think that has some interesting things. Now over here, this is from Engage New York lesson. Again, you could add your own text box in here. Oh, not this one, because that's the actually text box for the students' choices. But you could add your own text box with directions, right? So you can type your directions here because for whatever reason, they didn't save, or like it was on a different page that I didn't use. Another thing that you can do is over here. So this is a really neat feature. So in this problem, if you're a math person, the students are going to, on a number line, find out where 3 9/10 is. So that, and they would use the pen feature. They would need to put a decimal in here. So for the decimal, I'm going to go to math and I'm going to go to number, and I'm going to put a box in here. And then I'm going to actually put the correct decimal answer. And the correct answer is 3.9. And so I'm going to actually do that. So that means that students will get full credit if they put 3.9. If they put anything other than 3.9, they will not get the correct credit. Or they will say that it's a wrong answer. You could also add multiple correct answers, so like 3.90. Now in this case, I do want it to be 3.9 because of the fraction. And you can allow minuses, negatives, allow commas. I'm going to just allow decimal. And that's nice too, because especially for younger kids, that means when they start putting in other things, like they start typing words in there, it will not let them. So this is just a nice feature that they will exactly put in a number and a decimal point. And maybe I do want it to be a text box for students to fill in. Over here is a fraction. So if you see on here, it's supposed to be 17 1/2 or 17 5/10 if we're doing it by tons. So right here, what's nice is students can actually, again, for younger kids, you can actually make a fraction, and this is a mixed fraction for students. So what's nice was this is the kids do not have to put in and use the fraction key, or the fraction for the, typing it in, but they're literally just going to put the correct answers in the boxes. And so this is really nice feature. So in this case, I want it to be 17 5/10 and save changes. Now this is what we see, but students, again, when you preview, and I'm going to scroll to that page, they will see this. So again, this is nice because for younger kids, they will actually put in the answers that they need to put in here, right? Like, if they put a 3 there, it'll let them know that that piece is wrong. They don't have to worry about putting the fraction key in or writing it out by hand. And just like here, if I start typing, like I'm trying to type a letter right now, I'm trying to type a negative, none of that is working. You would be able to only put the numbers in the way I just did. So that's some of the examples. And again, what's nice with these, and my favorite part, the duplicate, I can just duplicate these really quickly, and the more you do it, the faster you go at it. And then in this case, after you duplicate, you just have to change the answers, right? So this actually ends up being 74.7, right? 7/10. So you put 74, you put 7 here, and here's my correct answer. And then same thing here, you would change it to 8, 80, and 8/10. The other feature is the math algebraic expression, which I'm going to put right here. So what that does, again, you could, right now you can't put the answer key in there. So this would be something that you would grade by looking at students' work. But what this will do, again, if I preview it, I'm going down here. When the students start typing here, and I didn't make a box, but I can, notice what happens. So here's my icons right now, but because I put the math equation, or algebra expression is what they call it, and I click on it, look at what happens here. So for the math folks, especially secondary, you're now given a lot of different math options, or those math equation editor options. So the students can put fractions if they want to. You can put radicals. You could put exponent, subscript, and other items that are a little bit harder to find on a keyboard. Degrees, pi symbols, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and even division and multiplication symbols. So this is a feature that only shows up if you put the algebra expression in there. And then again, as soon as you click off of it, it disappears and goes to the main menu. So I would definitely recommend, when you do an algebraic expression, again, using something like Screencastify, share with students what that means. Show them what the keyboard would look like and how you would solve it. And again, all you need to do here is just duplicate it. I'm going to do it 3 times. So then it's very easy to add. So I'm almost done with my worksheet. I just have to duplicate these answers and put those in here, and then it'll be done. Couple of other things I want to show you. Again, with these, there's not, you can have students write out the answers. As we've said before, the kids do have these options right here. So you don't have to always add the specific icons. Those specific icons, or the specific type of questions that we've added, those are just, a lot of those again are self-graded. So it's really great for that immediate feedback for students, which again, we definitely encourage in asynchronous learning. But that doesn't mean that they can't just complete it by, writing out, in words what the domains are or what the ranges are, and putting in like, okay, well, it's you know, -4, you know, and writing it out or typing it out. But there are some other features that I just wanted to show you. They do have a nice true and false. And you can choose whichever one you want. So here it says yes or no. So I'm just going to make it yes or no. And I can just put it right underneath here. And looking at this, this is actually yes, a function. So it's going to look like this. And then I can do the same thing here. And this one is not a function because you have 6 goes with 12 and 18, right? So in this case, it's not a function. And again, what the students would see, always check out the preview. You'll see there's the icons that appear, and the kids will just have to type in yes or no, and it will give them that immediate feedback, which is huge. In problems like this, I would give them some information here. So what I would do is I would give them a text box, and I would give them directions and say, use the pen tool to graph the piecewise function. Okay, and I can do that. I could also, if I wanted to, I can change the color of my background or a text box so then they could see it a little bit better. I could change the text color if I wanted to, you know, make it so they could, you know, so it's jumping up at them. I could also insert images. So what I can do is put an image right here, and I'm going to add, I had an image, let's see if I can find it, of a icon for my pen tool. So I can add that image right here. So what that's going to tell my students is they will need to use that pen tool to actually draw here. So again, when I go to preview to show it and scroll down, this is what they're going to see. So you're going to say, okay, got to go over here. And this is where I graph, you know, whatever it looks like, right? And then the other quick thing that I wanted to show you is multiple choice that is not necessarily in linear format, either horizontally or vertically. Right now, if I choose multiple choice, I could either make the circles going down or going to the side. Unfortunately, none of that works for this problem. Now, they are working on it. That is one of the tools they said that they're working on because people already asked, I'm assuming, you know, people from New York State, because a lot of our regions type questions have it in this format. Well, what I can do is I can do something that's called hotspot. Now with hotspots, what you want to do is you want to draw these boxes, and you want to, I think it says here, let's see where it says, I'm going to hold the shift key to lock all the boxes together. So basically what it means is I'm going to do a box, right here. This is my hotspot. And then I'm going to do another hotspot. I'm going to do 4 of them. So I'm going to duplicate the 4 hotspots. And again, you can make them if you want to make them a border so you could actually see them, right? So what I'm doing is I'm just putting these hotspots. I'm going to duplicate 2 more and move them to the other choices. So here's my choice 3 and 4. And then what I'm going to do, just be careful that they're not touching each other. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each one of them, hold the shift key, and select all of them. And then I'm going to add that, and I'm going to say, oh, hold on a minute. Okay, so they're all selected, which means right now, do you see how when I click on one of them, they're all selected? That means they're all part of the group, but I want this to be the correct answer. So I'm gonna select this one. I'm gonna say the student should click on this hotspot. And if they do, this is 2 points. But what I don't want is I don't want the kids to select this one. I don't want them to select this one. And I also don't want them to select this one. And so what that means is kind of like multiple choice. I want them to choose 4. I don't want them to choose the other ones. And so if I do preview, scroll down, this is what it looks like. Again, I can get rid of the borders if that's weird and you don't want them to. And then the kids could select multiple answers. So the idea here is, can they select the correct one? So if they select number 1 and it checks, it's going to be wrong. But they can select, if they select 4, it would be correct. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much how to take a PDF and make it interactive. And again, as I said before, you technically don't need to. You could just have a PDF and upload it in here. But I think these features are really, really powerful because, again, they give you that immediate feedback to students and yourself of how well the kids did. And when they are asynchronous and you're not having that time to have that conversation with them, I think that's crucial for them to really understand if they know what they're doing in these handouts. And when you're done, you can just click close and you'll be done. And so now it goes into this worksheet details. Now I'm gonna just go back to my worksheets for a minute. These are all my worksheets. Here is that Wednesday PD morning worksheet. I could do a couple of things. Maybe I want to add some more content. I can go and do that. I could edit properties of it if I want to add a descriptions to it. I can make a copy. So this is great if you're a secondary teacher and let's say you want this worksheet to be for your 5 different periods of classes. I would make a copy and make 1 period for each class. So that way, when you get the data from the kids, each class has its own data. You can share this. I can share this with my colleagues by clicking share. I would have to enable the sharing, and then this is the link that I would give my colleagues. My colleagues would be able to see the assignment, and then if they want to, they can make a copy for themselves, and then they have one. So that's a very easy way to share. You can again double check and preview, delete the assignment, or you're going to assign. Now, just note, when you assign work, you're not going to be able to go back and edit it. So what I like to do is maybe make this a template and then make a copy of this. And then for this one, maybe I say this is for my period 2. Okay, so this is going to be my period 2 assignment. So now this is my template that I could edit if I need to give it to someone else, but this is my period 2 and I'm going to click assign. Now here's some really cool options with assigning. There's different student sign-in options. You could ask students to add their name or their ID or use a Google account. You could ask them to do both. If you have a list of student IDs or names, they might, you can do that and upload it, and then the students can choose. So that might be better for younger students. You could also have options to show score to the students when they submit the work. So again, if it's like a test, maybe you don't want students to see the correct answer, so they tell someone else, right? Maybe you want only the scores to show up, or maybe you don't want scores at all. So it's going to be up to you what you want. You know, I like to do the score and students' answers. That way students can see what they've done and what they've done right or wrong. The other thing you can do is show the points earned, as well as percentages based on the total points that you've added. Now, the other piece is this toolbar. Remember the toolbar, when I clicked on preview, the toolbar always appears on the top. It's the one where the kids are putting text in as well as drawing. Now, I would encourage, especially for younger kids, if you're going to be adding text boxes where they're going to type, you might want to hide the toolbars. You might want to hide the text toolbar. And that way they don't need to put text anywhere unless it's where you're putting in for them to put the text. Right now, there is no drawing tool assignment per se or a question type. They are working on that. So for now, especially if you're a math teacher and you want students to draw, you might need to leave the drawing tool where it is. So again, but this is up to you what you want to have or not. And then you create your assignment. What's nice is you can share it to Google Classroom. So I can click share to Google Classroom. It will show me my classes that I have. So I can go to my sample beta class. It will give the students the link right away into Google Classroom. And then I can choose how many points, right? If I want it ungraded, the due date, put it in the topic if I want. And again, doing an assignment and assign it, you could put the numbers in here, you could update it, complete this, make sure you turn it in. And then when you're ready, you click assign. And then students will be able to complete it. Now, the students' work you will not see in Google Classroom because this is a teacher-made website. You will see the work in here. So for instance, if I click on 5th grade, oh, I don't think anybody did this one. If I click on the algebra example, you could see right here, I have 2 students that have completed the work. So what I can do is I can click on this assignment and see there's Brian's student and he completed it with 100. I could actually click and see his work that he's completed. So here's the typed work, here's his drawings, here's the choices he made and the correct one that he chose. Again, some of the correct answers that he chose as well. And then I could see Liz's work, and then you can score yourself. Let's say it didn't, again, with these options, there's maybe I didn't put the correct answer. So I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say, oh, this was great. So I'm going to put 5 out of 5. It changes the point values for these questions because this is the ones that she did get wrong. In here. So I gave her the 50%. The teacher score is what you couldn't grade, right? Because there was no answer key for it. You could also give students a comment and you can return the work to student. As of right now, you cannot see if students are working on it that did not submit the work. So for instance, if I go back to my worksheet, I have 3 students that are completing the work. I can't see what they're working on, but that is something that they're working on right now, and they're hoping to add that shortly, that you'll be able to see, because sometimes students, they forget to turn it in. They do it, but they forget to turn it in. But there are other options and things. You can put due dates. When they submit the assignment, that's it, they're done. And maybe you look at it, you give them feedback, and you say, you know what, I want you to go back and redo some of it. So you can reopen and reset it, or you can delete the whole thing if you wanted to. You could also export scores. The scores right now are not like super detailed because it's really just going to tell you how many points the students got. But I do, again, like the feature of just being able to see the student work and the fact that they're able to write on a PDF, which is huge for our students and for us. So any questions with the rest of the things that I showed you guys?
So, Yelena, it seems like when you put those features in there in the document for edit, then when you get rid of text box, those text or whatever number there's available, they will automatically available, right?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Would you be able to show, or I guess you did, the answers? Where did you access the answers? As in worksheet?
So I would have to put the answers in. So for instance, in this multiple choice, when I create the multiple choice boxes, I would just, you have to know what the answer is, and then I will put the circle. I would just highlight which choice it is based on what the answers are. Sometimes it's easier to do that than not, and it just really depends on the type of question you have. Again, something like this, it's easy, you know what the answer is, so you do it. But sometimes, you know, and again, with these text boxes here, the math ones, you know what the specific answer is, so you could put it in here. And again, like I would duplicate, and here it's 17.5. So here's my, just double click on it or edit the number. And they are all different depending on the type of question you ask.
Right.
But again, in the help, you could always, you know, kind of check, and it'll tell you what to do and the tips and tricks for it as well.
Okay.
Any other questions? I saw, Brian, you said something about a line tool in the chat.
Yeah, just for, there was a question about graphing linear equations. So they could use the line tool, or they could actually use the pencil and plot the individual points.
Yep. So right here, so right now the students have the option of having the line tool. And then you could change the thickness of the line right here if you want it thinner, or if you want it really thick. You can do the highlighter. When they use a highlighter, I would definitely change it to lighter color. And highlighter, you kind of have your cursor underneath. And again, this is very thick because of the lines. That was funny. But you would have the cursor kind of underneath, and you can make it thicker and play around with it. And then you have the pencil tool, and that one writes, you know, it draws. And you could also use the circle tool. You could fill in the circle as well. So you can plot points that way if you want to. The only thing is when you start writing, it will start filling in. So you have to be careful to unfill the bucket to write. But again, what's nice, what I love about one of my favorite pieces of this TeacherMade is this preview, because nothing happens here other than I'm putting the stuff in. But what I love about it is the fact that I can see what students would see. And actually, I wanted to show you this really quickly, because I did notice now that I've kind of completed stuff, right? I want to show you what I can do is check my answers to see. It gives me the score. This is what the students would see. It would submit the work for them. So they only click on check answer when they're ready for it. And this is what it shows up to them. Now, again, they might, so like right here, because my choice was I didn't want them to see the correct answer. So it's just going to give them an indication that they got it wrong. But I'm not telling them what the right answer is unless I want them to. So right now it is, but if I tell them I don't want them to see the answer, this is what it would look like. And then you can see right here, oh, one of them I did correctly, but the other ones we didn't do correctly. So it's just a nice way to, you know, kind of check the work and see what's going on. I think in the chat there was a question about if you have a Google Doc or a Word document, how to change it to PDFs to use this. This is a great site called pdfcandy.com. This is a great one where you can put Word to PDF. And do it that way. But also in your Google Drive, anything that you open, even like Google Slides, you could print them, if I'm not mistaken. And Brian, maybe I'm wrong, and I think Allison was on here too, but I think you could print to PDF if I'm not mistaken, or like save it as a PDF.
Yeah, I just put that in the chat.
Yeah, you
Okay,
definitely can with anything that you have.
Yeah, so that's just a great way, you know. So I have this Renaissance presentation. I can, you know, open it, and then I could do file and download it as, and then just choose a PDF document. And then you'll be able to upload that to TeacherMade. Eventually, they are working on having, being able to upload Google files, including slides and docs, into TeacherMade before even changing them to PDFs. But right now, they're, you know, it's not there yet. And then when you're done, you know, I can just click TeacherMade, and it looks like I'm off and I'm not on, you know, I'm just on the website. You can again double check on the features that they have and the things that they're excited to keep adding to the features. But then if I click login, I'll get back right into the website with all the information in my different classes. They are working on, this should be updated probably sometime this week. They're working on creating folders so you could actually organize these worksheets so they're not just, you know, one on top of each other. But that's kind of the tool. Any other questions that you guys see in the chat that I should answer? There are a couple more minutes left. No? Okay. Well, with that, thank you so much. I did record this, so we will post this in our CSD Learns. And if I could quickly remind you, just go to our CSD Learns staff, online support. And in here, we're going to continue to add our tutorials. I know Brian and I talked about maybe doing an Ed Puzzle if you're 7th through 12th grade teacher. Ed Puzzle is something that you do have the paid version for. So we might do that next week. Just keep an eye out on this document. It always changes. Look at our help hours if you need us. And right here, when you go to the pre-recorded tutorials, which is also under staff video tutorials, you will find all our recordings. There's some things from student perspective, some Google Classroom. These are the presentations that we did during the superintendent conference day. Seesaw for younger students, Zoom if you need to go back to kind of, you know, you want to know how to do some of the things in Zoom. And then here's our web resources and apps that we talk about. So here's where we're going to post this video for TeacherMade. And then there's some other resources, and we just keep adding more and more videos here. So, you know, if you need to go back, rewatch it, and definitely reach out to us if you need any, you know, help with any of these things.
Thank you. Mhm.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great rest of the day.
You too.